everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be going over the all-new 2019 Challenger Stars and Stripes edition. Basically, it's mostly an appearance package, but as always, we are going to do a quick walk around on the car, then we're going to take it out to see how it drives. A big shout out and thank you to Larry H. Miller, Dodge Ram, Jeep Chrysler here in Sandy, Utah for providing us with the car. If you want to check out this car and many others, just check out their inventory in the link below. So under the hood here, we have a naturally aspirated 5.7 liter V8 Hemi that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission with this particular car. Fuel economy numbers are 16 around town and then 25 on the highway. Power outputs on this is an RT, is 375 horsepower and then 410 pound-feet of torque. We're going to start with going over the front end. So on the hood here, you can get this little hood scoop now on all of the RTs. The Stars and Stripes edition, you can see it gives you this big black stripe in the middle, and then you kind of got this little silver pinstripe off to the side. It still has all of the LED lights up front with the LED projector bulbs as well. You can see that you got the little RT logo right there in the grille, but all blacked out right here. The stripe continues down the bottom. Those are just protectors for the front splitter, but here's like a full front angle on this Stars and Stripe edition. Around the side here, we have two 45mm tires on 20-inch rims. You can see they're kind of all blacked out. Got an American flag there for the Stars and Stripe edition, aka the Street Speed 717 edition, if you guys know what I'm talking about, because he does all that stuff on his merchandise. Anyways, two 45mm 20-inch rims in the rear as well. And speaking of that, let's head out back. We've got the key fob here for the Challenger. You got a couple functions. You got your lock and unlock, tailgate release, and remote start. If we press that button twice, that'll do the remote start function. You can hear it start right up. It actually sounds really loud for a 5.7 liter Hemi. And that'll shut it right off. You press that button twice and that'll do the trunk release. It doesn't pop it up, it just unlatches it. And then you've just got to pop it up manually. You can see same cargo room as all of the other Challengers. And then you got the little subwoofer there for the Harman Kardon sound system under here. Fix the flat kit, all that kind of stuff. And then you can just shut that. Now finishing things up in the rear, that stripe package continues all the way down to the back. As you guys can see, you get parking sensors in the rear. You've got your LED lights in the rear as well. Black spoiler, backup cameras integrated right there, and then dual outlet exhaust. And now let's head to the front. You've got keyless entry at the front, so one touch to lock it. To unlock it, you just have to put your hand on the back of the door handle and that unlocks it. And now we can see the door panel here in the front. So you've got this nice black leather with the contrasted stitching. And then you got some cloth trim right here. And this cloth, by the way, comes with the Stars and Stripe edition. You can see the seats here in the front, which we'll go over those in a minute, but let's actually throw this forward. So you can see the seat in the rear. So you can see this looks identical to all the other Challengers, other than the fact that this comes with the cloth seats, like I said, that are with the Stars and Stripe edition. You get a couple vents, cup holders out of that little pop out right there. And now we can go over the front seats. So we can see that there's power adjustments on the front seat right there, lumbar, and then this actually is for the forward and back motion on it. More of that contrasted stitching. Full cloth seats with this Stars and Stripe edition. And then you can see you got the pedal layout just down below, hood latch release, light controls right there. This is the trunk release here, and then the steering wheel is going to be manually adjustable. Now that we are in the Challenger, just put your foot on the brake, push the push start, and that'll start the car right up. The gauges will do a little sweep, and it says Challenger. Now this is your cruise control here on this side. This is for that little center screen. All of your voice command controls, and you can see more of that contrasted stitching with the leather steering wheel. It says Dodge in the center. You got paddle shifters on both sides to shift the gears yourself. Rocker panels on the back to control the radio stations. Turn signal / windshield wiper stock on that side. Now you can see you've got RPMs on the left hand side. On the right hand side you've got the speed, and then you've got all these little menus that you can scroll through on the vehicle that give you different bits of information on the Challenger, just like all the upgraded Challengers essentially. Now we've got the 8.4-inch touchscreen on this particular one, so you can see it's got navigation on it. You can see how that functions and everything. And then if we go over to climate, you can see it is a dual zone climate, and this has the performance pages just like all of the other performance variants on the Challenger and the Charger, and then also on the Durango and the Jeep. Pretty much everything performance wise with FCA. Of course, I almost forgot to do the backup camera, so you can see now I have it in reverse. You got those little trajectory lines that make parking a whole lot easier, and you can kind of see the whole display in general. It's pretty good quality. Just down below, we've got all of our analog radio controls right here, analog climate controls for that dual zone climate, and actually we're going to be back up to the touchscreen in a moment. So you've got your sport mode, which you press that and it'll show you a little racing flag right there, whether you're in sport mode or not. But the Super Track Pack, this is a pretty cool function. So it kind of gives you all the different variables that you can change. So you have launch control on this, and you can see that you can set the RPMs with that launch control. You do have to have 500 miles to be able to use that. And then you can also change your drive modes. You get your sport mode, and then you've got your auto mode set up, and so you can see all the different settings that you can change within that. Here's our shifter for the 8-speed automatic. It does have a manual shift mode if you want to shift the gears yourself. Couple cup holders right here, and then this is actually leather, more of that stitch. You can see they do that same color, kind of like, it's almost like a dark brown, orangish stitching is the best way for me to put it. You can see this full center console. We've got some felt in there, a bunch of charging stations, and then they've got some little outlets here so you can kind of thread the cable through. But anyways, on storage, we've got the glove box, and you can see again lined with felt, and it's got a couple tiers in there, so it's pretty easy to store stuff in the glove box in general. And then they kind of just do the rubberized plastic all over the whole dash. We've got our sunglass holder up here with all of our light controls. Got a couple microphones for the Bluetooth, and then this is the sunroof. So it is a regular sunroof, just lets a little bit more light into the cabin, and you guys actually saw something on the seat. You can see there's little stars on these seats, again for the Stars and Stripes edition. Well, I actually have the window sticker here, so you can see Challenger RT Stars and Stripe edition. You can see the base price on the Challenger before you add any options, and then the color option this has, obviously the 5.7 Hemi. Now you can see how much that Stars and Stripe edition package actually cost. It's only a $19.95 upgrade, and you can see all of the equipment that comes with that. 20-inch rims are a pretty cool add-on. I mean, those rims, they're not quite worth $2,000, but I mean, I feel like the package overall is a pretty decent value. And then you can see this one's got the performance handling group as well. Harman Kardon sound system that I showed you in the trunk with that subwoofer, 8-speed automatic, power sunroof, and then you can see the 8.4-inch touchscreen. So this is the total price on this particular car before any type of market adjustment. That all being said, let's take the Challenger out to see how it drives. Before we head off in the 2019 Stars and Stripe Edition Challenger, let's talk about visibility with this car. So you can see visibility of the hood. The hood's pretty long, so it takes a second to get used to that, but I assure you guys, you eventually do get used to it. And then you see visibility throughout both of the mirrors, and then you can see visibility throughout the rear. A little bit limited with that, but I mean, in terms of other muscle cars, it's actually really decent visibility wise. So you guys can see I've got this in the sport mode right now. That's probably the mode that a lot of you guys will be driving in. You can see it holds the gears a little bit longer, which actually isn't all that nice for in-town driving. So we're gonna take it and put it back into the normal mode. Anyways, in terms of ride quality and road noise, there's a little bit compared to like most modern SUVs, trucks, all that kind of stuff. But in terms of like a sports car, muscle car, it's actually pretty well insulated. And then ride quality is a little bit bumpy, but again, that's kind of expected for a sports car, especially since this has that suspension package. The suspension is going to be a little bit rougher compared to like if you get the regular package without this sports suspension. So in terms of steering, the steering is actually really tight in general. It's pretty direct, and I know a lot of people talk trash on the Challenger saying it's a big old boat and it's heavy. It is a heavy car, but it actually drives really nice, and it just goes right where you put it. No, it's not a 2,000 or 3,000 pound sports car, but in terms of handling, it's actually really good. So as you guys can see, I've got it put in this manual mode before we get an acceleration here. So I'll be shifting the gears myself. And you can see those gear shifts are instantaneous. I mean, it is absolutely crazy. Obviously, power on this is going to be more than enough. We're gonna throw it back into the comfort mode, but yeah, I mean, 375 horsepower and 410 pound-feet of torque. It's taking the same engine that's in my 1500 Rebel and putting it in a car that weighs significantly less. It's definitely powerful enough. To sum things up, if you are in the market for a muscle car, all that kind of stuff, you've got to check out all three brands. The Challenger is kind of more true to the roots of what a real muscle car is, and if you're one of those people that's all about, you know, basically literally like I said, like I'm gonna say at the end of the video, you know, Murica, that kind of you know, feeling, all that kind of stuff, where, you know, super patriotic and all that, this is definitely a great package to go for. It's already got the flags, all that kind of stuff, which I know a lot of people add that stuff onto the car. This one's already all set up with it. They should just call this the Freedom Edition, or the, you know, M16 with some sizzling bacon on the end of the tip as your firing bullets edition. But yeah, great car, you should check it out. There we have it, everyone, the 2019 Challenger Stars and Stripe edition. This is a great car if you're looking for a car that basically is just like America in one whole thing, essentially, or I should say Murica. The only thing this car is missing is an M16 and some bacon at the end of it that you're cooking as you're shooting with that. Anyways, as always, if you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe, comment down below what you thought. And then again, a big shout out and thank you to Larry H. Miller Dodge Ram here in Sandy, Utah, for providing us with the Challenger. If you're in the market for a new Dodge, Ram, Jeep, or Chrysler, check out the inventory in the link below. I'll see all of you in that next video. Now you can see steering here is actually really direct. It's very, very light and effortless, but I mean, it is just right to the point. I know that everyone kind of gives the Challenger some, you know, trash talk and smash, or I can't even talk right now.